Thank you, everybody, for joining along on this wonderful Friday evening, guys. I hope you've had a good Friday, just as good as I have. Fridays are always fun, just because we know the weekend's right around the corner. And I understand for some of us, all our days are like log jammed together. So Friday's not a big deal, but it still is for me. So I like to still celebrate it. That's pretty awesome in my world. So thank you guys so much for following along. As always, everybody who comes along, comments with the show, who's active in it. Again, you guys are always the lifeblood of what I love to do here. And, it always means all the world to me, all the gratitude for you guys, just being a part of it. It really is special. So let's get all the particular information out of the way like we always do, guys. So if this is your first time watching us, you picked a really good show to follow along. You can check us out, guys, streaming right now on our YouTube channel. So if you're watching us on YouTube, do us a big favor, guys. Hit the like and subscribe button. We are always happy to keep building our viewership there, and hit the notification bell, guys. It will let you know whenever we schedule new lives, whenever we are live, or whenever we drop new video content on the channel. So if you're watching us on YouTube, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Drop it down in the comments. And of course, you can catch us on all our other social media platforms at MFSB Live. So if you're watching us live right now, you can catch us on Twitter via Periscope. We are streaming live on our Facebook page. Actually, to my, also to my profile page. I was able to add that recently, which is pretty awesome because of StreamYard. They added more destinations, so I took advantage of it and said, no, let me go ahead and stream to my profile page. And of course, guys, we're streaming live on LinkedIn. So if you're checking us out on LinkedIn, thank you so much, guys. Super awesome. And we also do a little separate thing that I kind of do on Instagram. And what I do on Instagram Live, guys, is you get a kind of a behind the scenes sort of deal. So, you only see me. But again, I tell people on Instagram, this is our intimate time together, guys. So if you're watching on Instagram, you got me to yourself. So if you're watching on Instagram, thank you so much, guys. Follow us on Instagram at MFSB Live as well. So, we got that all out of the way. Let's get started on this evening's show, guys. So, man, I'm excited for this evening's guest. This has been a special week for me because I've had the opportunity to geek out. And, guys, I love to talk about live streaming and all the technological part about it and everything else. So I really got to geek out twice this week because this evening's guest, she is, let me just start with her bio, first of all. She is a live video strategist for brands and entrepreneurs. She's done so much. I'm always just in awe of what she's actually completed. But she's the host of her own live streaming show called Lights Camera Live, and she's the co-founder of Leap into Live Streaming the Bootcamp. So she's also spoke at Social Media Marketing World, VideoCon, Podcast Movement, and many more. She's also, this is exciting as well. I love this because she's also co-authoring a forthcoming book called The Ultimate Guide to Social Media, and I believe it's due out in August 2020. So that's still forthcoming, like it says in the notes there. And another interesting thing that when I first connected with her and started learning about her, is the fact that she's a master. She's mastered the technique of NLP, guys. So if you've been following the show, I've had other people on who are NLP practitioners. I love talking about the mind, so that's always another cool thing about what she does. So guys, help me do a big favor and help me welcome to the show this evening's guest, the wonderful, the magnificent Stephanie Liu. Hey, Stephanie,
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Hey, everyone.
Hey, everyone. That's right. So just a real quick plug before we get going, guys. I dropped it down in the comments. She's doing something for Restream, guys. So if you go in the comments, you can click on that link. It is an actual link, guys. It will take you to the contest. You can enter a chance to win Restream Professional for access for a whole year. That's a $588 value, guys. So that's something you should really go out and try. So click on the link, go to Stephanie's website, sign up for it. I mean, guess what? You might win.
Yes.
It's awesome, right? I mean,
Yes.
who doesn't like free, right?
I don't know. Everyone should. That would make sense.
And you can also, if you just go there anyway, you can go check out her website and see all the cool stuff she has going on there. She's got her episodes on there. So much. I mean, I literally spent like almost an hour and a half going through and checking out the website because, again, there's so much she's got. I mean, she's done all her speaking engagements. She's got so many resources on there. So, guys, I mean, if you're looking for something, go check out her website. I would highly, highly suggest it. And of course, we got people already following along and commenting. So my buddy, Mr. Schulman, check it out. He's already throwing his vibe in here. So thank you much, Mr. Brian Schulman. He's always been a gentleman. Love Brian. So Stephanie, let's get started with your journey. One of the things, we'll get into the live streaming thing. I do love to geek out on that. But one of the things I wanted to get into to start out with kind of was the fact that you have used neuro-linguistic programming, NLP.
Yeah.
I find that super interesting just because I love digging into people's minds and how NLP can actually help people grow and change and learn, really formulate new habits, formulate a lot of things. So how did you learn, first of all, NLP and what was the first things that you took away from it whenever you started learning it in the first place?
That's such a good question. It brings me back to like memory lane. So for those of you who don't know, before I was Stephanie the live streamer, I was Stephanie ad agency veteran. I worked at an ad agency and I was a part of the pitch team. And the pitch team is your A team. That's the team that you bring in when you're about to sign the deal with the client. And so my discipline that I would teach to clients would be specifically social media. And so it was important for our team to learn how to communicate effectively, to be able to know where our client is thinking, to understand their thoughts, their values, and their beliefs, and how our product aligns with that and can help them to get them where they want to be. And so one of the things that they actually trained us was in understanding NLP, how to communicate effectively, knowing how the mind works. That was my first intro, my first parlay into it. And it was absolutely amazing because it was at that point when you start to realize, it's not only about how you communicate to others, but it's also how you communicate to yourself. Because there are so many things that we want to accomplish in our lives, but we're listening to the soundtrack that keeps playing in our head. And our thoughts becomes our words and our words become our actions. And so if you know how to master your mindset and empower yourselves, and that really makes you just unstoppable.
Yes, right. And it's such a fascinating subject to learn about. Simply because, number one, like you said, you really get into you're talking about mindset. And that's a big, huge factor in wanting to do any kind of change in your life. I mean, again, if you're living, like you said, if you're living that broken record in your mind and it's going over and over and over again, you're trying to figure out what can I do differently? I mean, learning something like neuro-linguistic programming or just talking to somebody or actually getting educated on it by somebody who's a practitioner of it, it really helps open your mind a lot. I mean, I had somebody do NLP, part of the technique, and they also did what they call EFT, which is tapping.
Okay. Yeah.
And they did that with me on a live show, and it changed my life. Tell you why. I found a brief moment of clarity. Well, there you go, dog. That's Pudding. You've heard him before, but there's whole thing of where I went blank. I was like hypnotized, really, on a live. I had to go back and watch the 5 minutes after it happened.
Yeah. You're in trance.
Yeah, to remember what I even said. If I was hopefully I was making sense. And once that happened, and we did it twice on the show, and afterwards I came over, I wrote like I've never written in about 15 years, where I just sat down and started a marathon writing, and it kind of re-kicked and re-energized my creativity.
Yeah.
And it opened me up to different things as far as learning emotional highs, emotional lows, a lot of things that I wasn't expected to feel after that. So shout out to Dr. Katie Nall for giving me that, for giving me that thing out there. It really helped me out a lot and changed a lot of my perspective on life. And that's how powerful doing something like NLP, which people go, what does that really do for you?
Yeah, I mean, it does so much. You could use it in the business sense, you could use it in the clinical, you can use it as for coaching clients. There's For me, it's understanding how the mind works. And when you're able to speak to someone and sit down with them for like even just 10 minutes, and you automatically know how they're programmed. You know what motivates them. You can know what motivates them to take an action, what pushes them away. And then it's easier to kind of unlock the barriers, the stumbling blocks that they keep, bumping into. And
Mm-hmm.
then when you bring it into their conscious awareness and they're really like, "Oh, wow. Okay. That's the problem." It's not the external stuff. It's that internal soundtrack that I had that was blocking me the entire time.
Yeah, and that's why it's so awesome that you know how that you got that already in your repertoire of things to go back and when you communicate with people, because I'm pretty sure that really has taken your level of communication to a whole nother plateau when you talk to people and go, wow, I can hear things. I hear keywords. I hear things in here. These are things that can spark and go, oh, I can attach it that
Oh,
anchor.
it's yeah, the anchors too. It's this is like super nerdy. This is the part where I'm like, yay, like we get to talk about NLP, and this has been honestly a journey that I've been on for like the last 6 years, and it's something when I first learned it, I learned it for myself because I was going through like my own stuff, and once I had gotten to the other side of it, it was like a 3-day event. And I looked at like my best friend and I was like, oh my gosh, like I want to learn more about this. And I think it's kind of even when you geek out about live streaming gear, you want to get deeper and deeper and deeper into it so that way you can become more knowledgeable. And so that kicked off that 6-year journey. And it started off as just a hobby, reading certain things, going to events, and then it turned into, okay, let's make the investment, let's become a practitioner. And then you start picking up clients. And then from there, it's like, all right, what's the next level? The next level is going to be master practitioner. And then to truly be an expert in your field, it's knowing that you know how to train other people.
Mm.
And so being able to train someone else and see how they're learning those key learnings and describe a technique 5 different ways by different modalities to make it actually really click, then that's what really makes you a master at what it is that you do.
Yeah, and people are probably thinking, how do you use that in business? There are so many
So many
different there are so many different ways. And that's why I say learning that and knowing that, it's because the same thing. Even though you're in a business mindset, these are people you're dealing with. And you understanding people and learning and understanding how people connect. I mean, why wouldn't you want to take every advantage to go, this can ways. Not only help me in a business sense, but it can also help who I'm talking to, which is why I
Mhm.
love the fact that um, people who do go out and learn these techniques, it really goes beyond the saying just a handshake and a conversation and everything else, because it helps in so many ways where people go, wow, I never knew that about myself, or they learn new things whenever you have a conversation with certain people.
Oh
So,
yeah.
and again, it's I- um, I could just keep talking about it, but let's talk about something else because
No, no, I think it's absolutely beautiful because you're hitting on something that most people don't realize, and it's the fact that you cannot not communicate. Even if you're not saying something, you're still communicating something. Even if you're even if you haven't uttered a single word, like your facial expressions, your micro expressions on your face, your body language, that is all communicating something. So even if my husband comes home and he's like, "How's your day?" and I'm like, "It's good." You know, even though the word is "it's good," there's so much more. There's so much more to that. And it's so helpful, not only in business, but even as a live streamer. Because for those of you that watch Lights Camera Live, you know that I have different personalities in the sense that I could be high energy level. But if I want to build rapport with the host or my guest, I have to get to their communication level.
Yeah.
Because that's how we communicate. And when you pick up on the certain words that they use, see, I'm here on Gabe's show. And the way that he communicates is how his audience is used to that. And so if I communicated differently, it's like nails on a chalkboard. You don't want that, right? And so it's when you're able to kind of like decipher it, it's like a combination lock. You're like, oh, okay. All right, got it. Then you know how to click with that particular audience. And then it resonates. And then they keep coming back for more. And that's what makes it so beautiful.
And that's perfectly worded how I love to do this with other people, because you just pretty much explained how I tell everybody what my show is about. And I say, I don't want the person, and don't get me wrong, there's always a place for this, but I don't want the person who's 8 to 5. I want to know about the person that's from 5 to 8 in the morning. I want the personal person to come on here. And I get it, to the fact that a lot of the people I come on that I invite on, yes, they are business people. They have coaching or whatever they do, but I also love to dig into the personal aspects of who these people are. Because again, that's that level of connection, right? That's what you want to feel when you go away. That's why people, when they come off of my show, they go, wow, that's a lot different than what I was expecting. Of course.
Oh yeah.
I don't, because I can geek out, and we can talk about it. Really, if we wanted to go, let's do it super structured. But
yeah, no, and I love that about you, because it's true. There are different shows and hosts where they have different flows. Some people very much just want to be transaction, whereas you are looking for more transformation. How did you get to where you were? You know?
And that's what I want. I want what I dig from each person. What I try to find and bring out is their values, their experiences, their knowledge, and their wisdom. If I can pull one of those 4 things out of every conversation, I believe that I've added value to somebody else's journey. And that's what I'm about, is really pushing that. And, you know, and then the fact that I get to talk about live streaming, well, that's even better for me. It's like
icing on the cake.
Yeah, for me, that's win-win. So that's why I said I've had a really good week geeking out with the techie little nerd inside of me who wants to do this, is because I have you on, and I had Rob Balasabas on Wednesday night. So that was another fun one, because then we went into talking about, with him, I went talking about fatherhood and what it meant to him, and because he really loves expressing about what it is that he loves with his kids and his family time. And that was cool. I love that. I love to see that. I love to see that side of him that I don't get to see on his regular content, what he talks about.
Yeah.
You know, these are the things that I see when I connect with other people on their social media platforms, and see when they post and all these other things. I go, oh, cool. That's the cool side to them. Not the fact that they do the live stream. That's cool. But there she is. Dun, dun, dun. So, guys, if you don't know, like, again, those who do watch the show, they know who Stephanie's daughter is. So,
yeah, she's my little super sidekick. She's like, Dad's outside talking to somebody. I was like, who he talking to?
Right. So, I guess it's that part of the show. Let's go ahead and start jumping into the live streaming thing. So, I know you've probably recounted this story plenty of times, but let's go ahead and hit it again, because there's a lot of people here who are not quite familiar. But how did you get into the live streaming, the whole live streaming racket in the first place? I loved your explanation. I watched your the interview you did with Think Media, so that was kind of cool and
fun. Yeah. So how did I start live streaming? It was more, I really wanted to separate myself from the sea of sameness. You see, as I told you before, I'm an ad agency veteran. My background is actually in PPC, SEO, and social media. I am an analytics nerd. You put me in front of a spreadsheet, I could pivot the hell out of that. I can concatenate things. I could do formulas, all of that wonderful stuff. And I was very successful in my ad agency career. I had plenty of clients, Nike, Sephora, Clinique, and I was working a lot, which was perfectly fine. I feel like when you're in your mid-20s and you're making a nice salary. And it wasn't until my husband and I realized that we were having my daughter, who is now standing on a chair. And I was like, okay, well, what can I do? Because I want to be
fancy.
Okay. Can you come get her?
Hey, coming.
I love this. This is my favorite.
Here, you guys just come and say hi then, because
this is
the man that just failed right now and had this little girl come in here, and this is the family.
Hey,
so she looks just like your dad.
Yes.
My husband literally had this look of like, oh my God, I'm totally gonna get it. He's like, I'm gonna get my ass kicked. Sorry. I looked at him like,
I'm watching you, right? No, yeah. Here's the thing. I love the aspect of it because, again, for me, like I said, I love to know the person that's from 5 to 8 o'clock. I get that people want to be professional, but I've had my friend Mike on. He's got 3 kids. He's stuck in Arkansas. They're on there jumping on the screen. To me, that's what I mean when I say I want the personal aspect of live streaming. Yeah. You don't get this anywhere else. I've had people's cats jump on their table while we're live streaming. I've had my dog go nuts. I've had all these other things going on. These are the personal aspects of what I say people's lives are really like. And I love that part of it. And so please tell the husband, awesome. And then tell your daughter, thank you for hopping on the show.
Thank you for your contribution. It'll be good. It'll be a good 1-minute video clip. And then for everyone that's giving Emma a shout out, I will actually just give you the secret code right now. So at the beginning of the show, we were talking about the Restream giveaway.
Yes.
And Gabe, I was telling you that if they watch the show, they'll get an extra entry. So the extra entry for that is Bella, Bella. Okay. And you'll get 10 more entries to win that Restream giveaway. So
there we go, guys. So
thanks for sticking with me, crew.
That's right. So there it is, guys. There's a magic word. There it is. Put it in there. Get the extra 10, guys. Again, so that's another one I want to talk about because this is another interesting thing that I kind of took off of a live stream I actually saw today between Rob and a couple other guys. We were talking about the different live streaming platforms. Yeah. So the multi-stream platforms that are out there. In your experiences, and I don't know how familiar you are with most, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with most of them, but I threw out the question, because I've messed around with all 3 of them, was Restream, StreamYard, and OBS Streamlabs. Which was, their favorite to use, because this is what I love to ask live streamers who've actually used it. And I know you use Ecamm, but I know you've had to play around with some, because I play around with them just to try them out.
You have to figure it out. Yeah.
So what are your, first of all, what's been probably your favorite? And then what are some of the things that you like from each one of them, if you've tried them? I don't know if you've tried all 3 before.
Oh man, that's Pandora's box. That's everything. I mean, honestly, so we didn't get to the part of like how I got into the live streaming piece of it.
Let's
honestly, it was so that little that little one that was right here. We had to figure out, well, I can't be working 50+ hours a week and raise her, and so the best way was to launch my own social media agency, and that was where I was like, okay. I didn't realize that a lot of people were calling themselves a strategist, but not having the experience that I had, because in my head, I think of a strategist as knowing how social media plays into all disciplines, not just social media only as its own silo, as its own island, but how does social play into paid media, into PPC, into PR, into digital, into TV, into radio. That to me is a strategist. And so when people were calling themselves strategists, I was like, no. And so that's where live streaming was for me to separate myself from them, was to not just talk the talk, but let me walk the walk and show you how I actually do these audits, how I do these strategies. From there, that's where, when you go live, everyone gets a notification. And so all those clients from that 15 years of experience were like, what is it that you're doing now? Like, you're doing your own thing right now. And so that's how I started getting clients. So that's how it all happened. And even then, I was using OBS Studio. Now
Mm.
that to me was like the IKEA of live streaming. It's like, here's your here's your OBS, but you have to put in and connect your different scenes. You have to do your hotkeys. You have to pull in your audio and all of that other stuff. And so, as much as it was a pain to put together, it taught me so much in understanding what goes on behind the scene of how much work and effort the eCam team puts into developing their product, into listening to their customers and adding new features. And same thing with StreamYard, adding new destinations and all of those stuff. It's so amazing just to see over that 4-year period of how things have evolved. And so OBS to me, yes, it was a pain to set up, but it unleashed my creativity. Because while I was doing OBS Studio, everyone else was doing BeLive. And back then, BeLive didn't let you customize, didn't let you do certain things. And so you had the same look. And I don't know if you know this, but when everyone else wants a zig, I go zag, right? I'm going to do something different. I'm going to now that's what I'm going to do. Like show and tell was my favorite thing growing up, right? And so when everyone was using BeLive, I wanted to use OBS. And that opened up my world into green screens and overlays and widgets. And oh my gosh. And that was the game changer for me, learning how to use loopback and sound siphon, bringing in audio. And back then I was doing OBS and Skype and bringing people in. And so because you know how it works, it's like Legos. You could build whatever it is that you want. You become a master builder, So I think not having the instructions back then helped me out in the long run, because I could sit down with the client and I don't have to say, okay, well, this platform can only do this, so you are limited. No, it's like, you tell me what it is that you want. What's your vision? What is it that you want to accomplish? And I will build it for you. I will create that for you because I can do that, because I'm a strategist. So I respect OBS, and I respect how OBS Streamlabs has evolved. And there's just so much. And you look at these gamers and you're like, that is so sick, because in my world, I come from the world of marketers, and most marketers are looking for things that are turnkey. As much as they want to customize and personalize things, you don't see that very often. And so when I discovered eCam, oh man, that was like, it took all the hard work that I would have to set up in OBS. And you and I were just talking about this because we have a daily show. There's a lot of setup that goes into building your show. And so eCam took what I loved about OBS and started putting the icing on top. And you could do green screens. Yes, you could do different scenes. You could connect it to a stream deck. You could do all this stuff. And that to me was a game changer. But that doesn't mean that I don't know StreamYard. That doesn't mean that I don't know BeLive or MobCam or all the other ones. I know them. I know how they function and I know how they work, and it's fun for me to play around with them. It's fun for me to know what Restream's capabilities are, because again, I have to come to the table to my client and say, what is it that you want? And then I have to figure out which solution is going to work best for them, because some might not have a Mac, right?
Yeah.
And so then what's the next option? Is it going to be a vMix? Is it going to be a Wirecast? Like, what's your budget?
Yeah.
Because sometimes you don't need those bigger tier platforms if you just want to have an overlay. You just want to have an overlay.
You can
get OBS virtual camera into whatever it is that you want to, and then you're fine. You're done.
Yeah.
If you want to multi-stream and do all this other stuff, it's kind of like a checklist that runs through your head. It's like when you take your car over to your mechanic. It's like, hey, there's something that I want to happen. They go through the checklist, find out what's happening, and then they fix what it is that they got to fix.
Yes. And there's so much, again, but here's the wonderful part, right? And you already explained it. And this is what I'm learning as well, the joy in learning all these different media types, open source programs, all these things that I'm learning is they give you so much room to be creative.
Yeah.
And if you use your imagination, like you did when you were 5 and you colored whatever you wanted to color, imagine that same palette and doing it in video and live streaming. And possibilities are endless. You can do so much. I mean, I love messing around with NDI, just checking it out. I mean,
Oh my God. When I discovered NDI, that was like leap into life for me. So this is Al Andrew. And this was like the silliest thing because I was a co-host or, co-founder for Leap Into Live. And that meant I watched every single presentation. And I was talking to my best friend. I was like, man, I'm about to watch Al Andrew and he does sports broadcasting and I don't watch sports, whatever. But that's the part where you have to keep your mind open and you have to practice lateral thinking because what he was doing with NDI,
bam, blows your mind, right?
Yeah, that was game changer. And then I found myself because he's in Australia and I would wait. I'm like, when does this man wake up? Because I got to talk to you. I got questions for you. I want to brainstorm with you. And again, Leap Into Live for me, Katie and I went into it thinking, oh, we're going to teach you Ecamm Live and show you all the cool things to do with it. But then we met the other speakers and then we met you and we met Doc and we met all these other creators. And now I'm looking at the Ecamm Live community and it is just so beautiful. Like every day there's a new tutorial. Bradley Vincent crushing it. I'm like, what? How did you do that? You do that in Keynote? Like, and here I am, trying to graduate from the school of YouTube.
Right.
It's like, wow, it's been amazing just to see the journey of live streaming, learning from everyone else. And, my show constantly evolves. And I love that Ecamm allows me to do that. Did you watch The Simpsons when you're growing up?
Oh, please.
Right? It was a given. It was a given. And what was your favorite part about The Simpsons? Be honest.
The favorite part, I always used to love the very beginning.
Yes.
And I would always wait to see how they would end the couch scene at the very end of the beginning of the show. That was always one of the things, because again, they could always, even though you knew how the beginning started, it was always the interchangeable part at the end that I loved. And that's why it was one of my favorite things.
And that is why my show, if you ever watch my show, I'm always tweaking it. There's always a surprise. There's always an Easter egg. There's always like someone else that I'm going to give a shout out to. There's always something that's different because I want to be that Bart Simpson of like, what is Stephanie writing on the wall now? What is Stephanie switching it up now?
Let me show you something.
Yeah.
Right. So when I create these, and I'm going to put it on screen, do you see the writing down there at the bottom?
Yes.
That is Simpson typing. So yes, I am a big fan. That is my own little art to my childhood watching The Simpsons.
Yeah. I love it.
And that's why I said when you said The Simpsons, I'm like, oh, of course, I loved it. It was one of my favorite things to watch, right? Yeah. And again, like you said, it evolves. It is same sort of deal with I tell people here. Cool that I got 110 episodes. Please go watch episode number 1 and number 2 to kind of see
the
evolution of how I've become from over there to here. And I tell them, you know what? Now put yourself in the same place and you could do the same thing. Go just really get down there, go take the step forward and see where it'll take you. You'll never know if you don't at least try, take the step and see where it will. Again, it's for me, it's been life-changing. So that's why I tell folks, take the opportunity. If it is whatever it is, even if it is live streaming, go sit in front of a camera if you want to start filming yourself and put it on YouTube and you want to talk about music. Okay, cool. Go record. Talk to music. Talk to whatever your heart's content. Put it out there. You don't know. People might say, dude, you're like this huge personality. I love following you. Who knows where it can take you, but you won't never know if you don't at least go try it and see. And that's what I tell people. Yes, I talk about live streaming, but I'm also a big proponent of going out and doing videos and podcasting. To me, it's about crafting your voice. Yeah. Going out there and saying, put your voice out there.
Yeah. Figure out what works for you. Like I had this gal who was working with me because for Lights Camera Live, we had like a group coaching program and I taught people live streaming. And she was live streaming for like a year on Facebook. And then she's like, you know what? I want to try Instagram. And so she went live on Instagram, but she took those same principles that you would take from a Facebook live stream, transferred it over, and then that's where she found her audience. So just because it's like it's not working on Facebook doesn't mean that you can't take those same skills, those foundations, and move it somewhere else to find out like, okay, this is where I could go ahead and start growing my audience and going from there.
That's right. So, and that's the wonderful thing about if you want to stream on social media, guys, there's plenty of platforms to go out there and try. If it doesn't work for you on YouTube, guess what? Go get on Facebook. If it doesn't work on Facebook, try Instagram. If it doesn't there, you know what? Get Periscope. Go on Twitter. Go on Twitch. Is becoming a whole nother platform. I mean, this is what, just shout out to Rob. That's what they were talking about today, is how Twitch is transforming just from being a quote unquote gamers channel. So much content now is being created on there. And thank you, Rob. Thank you for Mike. My friend Mike, he was like, you need to get on Twitch. Go. Yeah. I mean, literally, I got somebody here on Twitch, right? I got a Twitch comment. So yes, go out there.
What's awesome about that is because when you start experimenting with different platforms and you get that first comment, you're like, fitness trainer 845. You were the very, very first person that ever left a comment. And that becomes ingrained in your mind because hello, NLP and neuropsychology, you just got like that hit of dopamine of like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And now you have this love, right? Where it's like anytime that name pops up, you're like, yes, you're amazing. Like when I see Brian, Kendra, Doc, when they show up, and I know if they're going to do, like, I'm going to show up and I'm going to do the same for them because it's the law of reciprocity, right? It's all family and that's what it's all about. And it's just,
it's the community. It's the community that you build. It's those people that come along and you know what? Even when I don't feel it, even when I don't feel like, oh, today's just not the day, right? Once you start having these conversations though, tell me how good you feel once you get off. You feel invigorated. You feel like, you know what? I'm good. Life's good. Every time I get done with these, I get a fresh cup of perspective and I take that with me. I go, you know what? Let's roll it into tomorrow.
It's a good anchoring for you. I remember this one time when I was traveling so much. I was in training in Henderson, Nevada for 26 days. I hadn't live streamed for 26 days. And I had felt like something was missing. And then so when I found the time, and that I was in my trainer's training for NLP, that's 26 days of training. And when I got back online and I saw those faces and I saw those names and I was like, that's what I needed. That's like you become addicted to it because you get all of those happy brain chemicals. Like the fact that Marie Tahan Daniels has now shown up. It's like, what? I haven't seen this girl forever, but I love that whenever I'm doing something, she's there to support. It makes those bonds so much stronger. And again, this isn't anything that we're talking about transactional. This is transformational. Every time I see your comment, every time I see you show up, every time I show up for you, that's just strengthening our bond, even though I can't physically hug you.
Right? I mean, you get comments like this, and that's what makes it feel awesome. Right? Exactly. And that's why I say every time at the beginning of the show, I give gratitude for everybody who follows along. I tell everybody, you guys are the lifeblood of what I do.
Yeah.
Because it is literally what drives me some days where I say, you know what? I want to go hang with my community. I want to go hang with my family. I want to go hang with my other family. So, you get out there sometimes and you're really excited to go out there and talk. And here's the fun part, right? I've done solo shows where I have more comments than I do with guests because I get to sit there and I'm actually having a conversation. Yes, I'm talking to a camera, but I know there's like 25 people who are having a conversation with me.
Yeah.
And for me to get that, I go, oh, that was awesome. I love those. I don't get those often anymore, but when I do, I cherish them a lot. And that's the whole thing about what I tell people. Look, turn on a camera. Everybody's got an access right here. You got access right here. If you got one of these, guess what? You can become a live streamer. It's pretty simple. You turn it on, start having a conversation. You don't have to have all the fancy bells and whistles. you just really have to go out there and just start being yourself. And once you do, people will start going, I like this person. Let me start following and see what they have to say.
Yeah.
I mean, how was that? I mean, that was a journey for, I think, for just about everybody who's gotten to that next level of sitting in front of the camera for the first time and going, what do I say?
What do I say? Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, I've had people come up to me or message me. They're like, man, I can never have a show like yours, Steph. And I was like, dude, I mean, you could go way back and look at the very first video. You know, my hair's down to like my waist right now. When I first
Yeah.
started matching, my hair was up here.
Oh, wow.
So that will show you the different, like my background had probably changed. This is my third setup.
Mm.
This is my third setup design. This is my second camera. This is my second mic. And so much has evolved over the show. And I think it's always helpful to see, you know, what the first video was. Oh my God, maybe we should do like a yearbook edition where we go back and be like, show me your first live video.
That is one nifty idea to do that, is to go say, find your first video, right? And go share what that was and talk about that.
You know, what were you thinking the first time you went live, right? For me, I was very much, who's going to show up? Do I just keep talking? Is this working? You know, and then go back and like, what would you tell yourself then? You know?
Right.
You keep freaking doing this, you're going to have people like Marie and Craig and Kendra. They're all going to show up for you and it's going to feel amazing. They're like, what? Really? Yeah.
Yeah. First of all, they're going to go, who's Craig? Oh, wait a minute. Right. You go, because again, but you know what, to be honest and to tell you the truth, I was very much so nervous. I felt I wanted to puke the first time I sat down in front of a camera, because I was never, believe this or not, but I was very camera shy. I did not like taking pictures. I wasn't a big selfie person. I wasn't a lot of things. So sitting in front of camera first time and thinking about what I was going to write or what I was going to say. I mean, I think I had like 2 pages of stuff written out. I don't think I got through maybe a paragraph of what I had planned to talk about. My first show was 19 minutes long, and I struggled to get through that because I was like zigging and zagging all over the map, not knowing how to talk. And I just felt so weird and going, please, if somebody's watching, just drop a comment or something. I mean, so at that point, that's where I was like, oh, should I do it again? And you know what?
But again, remember, like when you did get that first comment, you remember who that was. There are often times that I still go back to that very first video and I look at who is commenting, and then I'll reach out to them on Facebook and just like, hey, how are you doing? You know?
Oh, I love doing that. I love reaching out to those sort of conversations and going, hey, thank you so much for being a big part of my journey. And they go, what do you mean? I said, well, you don't know what it means, but to me, that was a very big stepping stone in what I am now. So people go to watch me now and they go, wow, it's amazing. You just popped out of nowhere. I said, well,
you know, it's actually really, really fun is when you see someone doing their video and no one has commented yet. And then when you go into the comments and you say, hey, Gabe, and then all of a sudden you see his face just change. The micro expressions that we were talking about, all of a sudden his face lights up. You see like his eyes light up, everything. I love that. I love, you know, when I see a live stream come into my newsfeed, so, you know, I'll just pop in and I'll just heart bomb them. I'm like, yeah, you're doing this. Do it. You know, I'll say, what's up? And I'll give them some love. And I just love to see that moment.
Oh, I love
micro moment.
I'm like you. I see a live stream that comes on there, and especially if it's somebody that I might be unfamiliar with. So if it might be somebody who just started doing live streaming.
Yeah.
I'd love to go hop in their conversations and go, hey, how are you doing? Good morning or good afternoon, whatever's going on. And just telling, hey, this is awesome. I love that you're doing this. And just really throw support. And it it really changes the focus of when they start talking. They're like, okay, cool. That means
Yeah.
somebody's watching me. I feel.
Because most times when people are just starting with live streaming, they don't have a picture of who it is that they're talking. But as soon as your comment comes up, then they're like, oh, I'm talking to Doc. Hey,
Yes.
Doc, hell yeah, we're going to go to Cucina 59. Hell yeah, we're going to go eat out. Like that's Sam. It's be that person. Be that person that sprinkles kindness because it's free, and there's a lot of hate that's going on around in this world. And if you could just show up in someone's world and just be that lighthouse for them, because you never know how someone's feeling from day to day, from hour to hour. So much is happening, and if you could just be that lighthouse for them, that's perfection.
I mean, to me, and this is just me personally, I can remember literally the first conversation that I typed out to you. And I got to give this to Brian because Brian was the one that had mentioned it on the show. He goes, "Hey, I'm going to be in the live streaming boot camp with Stephanie Liu. You should check her out." And I said, "Okay, cool. Let me go." Started typing your name and go, "Wow, she's like really, really, really cool." So I sent a Facebook message. You answered back, and I said, "Okay, she's 100% authentic, cool." Because sometimes I don't get. And I'm not to shun other people, but sometimes I don't get a response back. And I get it because sometimes it might be, I had somebody's handler might be.
Oh, the answer.
Yeah, whatever. So I get that sometimes. I know that some people are just really that big and they have people handle their social media. They don't really, sometimes you might get that lucky person where, hey, it is somebody commenting who's actually themselves. So when you responded back, I was like, okay, this is cool. She's a cool, real authentic person. And then, I was just keep telling you how much of an admirer it was of reading on your journey and what you went through and how long you've been doing live streaming. And it was encouraging. And boom, here we are today. I mean,
and honestly, it was for Leap Into Live. My intention for that was that I wanted to inspire the next wave of live streamers because live streaming had opened so many doors for me that I wanted to open the door for the next person. And so usually when someone messages me asking for help, man, I'm like, hey, I've got resources for you. That's why I have the website. I'll point you in the direction or I'll introduce you to someone that can help you out. But what I remember about you is because even when I was going through Leap Into Live, not that many people realize that there's a lot of effort that goes into putting on an online thing. And that was just getting into the thick of the whole COVID stuff. That was
yes,
not having a babysitter for so many. This was two moms with kids putting this together. And you had reached out and you gave us some love.
Oh,
and
man.
Brian Vanzo is like, man, when you get comments like that, when you get people take a freaking screenshot, and your comment, that first conversation is in a folder called the Portfolio of Awesomeness. Because when I'm struggling and I'm like, dang, should I still do this? I open that up and I see you, and I see Doc, I see Mike, I see those comments because I need that. That's words of affirmation is like my love language. And so when I see that, I'm like, thank you.
I love that. And that's amazing. And that, again, it's so simple. That's why I tell people, if you're unsure or you want to figure out something, reach out to that one person who's really inspired you. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? They're going to say no. I mean, okay, cool. But here's the golden part. If they respond back, what does that mean to you? What does that mean that person thinks of what you said to them?
Yeah.
And it builds that connection and it goes to the next level. And it was that's why I saw the huge undertaking you guys were doing. And I go, that's massive. Because I'm such a big fan of live streaming. And I saw that. I go, first of all, you had so many guests lined up. That in itself takes time to line up people, go ask. First of all, to put the ask out. And not just to a lot of people. I mean, so there were not just like one or two people. There was tons, and it was built over 3 days, and it was, that's why I said it was massive. And I said, you know what, I took in as many of the sessions that I possibly could, because I go, this is free knowledge. They're giving you free knowledge. Why wouldn't you want to? That was the most, to me, that was the most incredible thing. Because usually sometimes people go, hey, for $19.95, you're going to get all this.
Yeah.
This is absolutely free. And I go, why? I said, I'd be a fool, and anybody else who doesn't take the opportunity to go listen would be a fool to not listen to a lot of these people who are, again, live streamers and doing, and they're people who've worked in their field and whatever it was, and they're sitting here sharing their information with you.
Yeah.
They're sharing their lives. They're sharing all this stuff, and it was incredible. So that's why I said I had to send you a message and go,
I love that.
That was awesome, because you're the work and everything that you went into it. I love the fact that you, again, it's something that there was so much that came out of it.
So much. And I feel like a new wave of friends, like new family members popped up, and I walked away, man, you watch my show, the way that it was structured, the way that it was formatted before Leap into Live to what I just did yesterday, night and day. It just changed. And it wasn't just because of me. It wasn't just because of the speakers, but I was learning from other people. I saw the shift in consumer consumption of media, of how people were thinking, going back to the NLP stuff. And that to me was exciting. I think even after Leap into Live, not only, yes, was I dead tired, but I had so many ideas. I had so many ideas of what it is that I wanted to do. And I changed my studio again. And I changed the format of the show. I changed the overlays. I did so much. And then I came back out swinging. I was like, look at this, rah. I'm like, I'm King Kong.
It's because when you hear those other people speak, you feel nothing else but inspired to go, you know what? Let me reevaluate what I'm doing here, because they've shown me so many different avenues to creativity. And once you get that in your mind, you go, I got to start doing something with this same sort of deal. I'm a constant reevaluator. So along my journey, after every 25 shows, I would sit there, reevaluate everything. What has worked for me? What hasn't worked for me? What are some of the things that I want to try? And then I would just change midstream and let's go doing something else. So that was, again, that was what I love, that was part of the journey that I loved doing this whole thing. And again, I think when you see people kind of like yourself who go out there and really share what they're passionate about, talk about the things they do, and they want to help, not just in business, but help you get a lot of things in life turned around and in a better way for you. I mean, what's not to love about that? I again, like you said, your language of love, right? I mean, that's so important to you. So, okay, Stephanie, it's gotten to the point where I get to the end of the show, and I always wrap the show up, and I've said this, I've asked 93 guests this question. It would have been 94, but I forgot on one episode, so that person got away with it, but I'm not letting nobody else anymore. So Matt Gagnon, you got away with the one. But here's the question that I've asked every other guest to come on the show. So when the book is said and done on Stephanie Liu, what kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? And what do you want to be remembered for?
Oh, I love this. So one of my core values of why I do what it is that I do is my very number one value is to leave a legacy for women in particular to feel confident about themselves. To no longer sit there and be like, man, if only this, then I'll do that. If only I had the perfect skin. If only I had the perfect body, blah, blah, blah. Fuck all that. Like you could do it right now. And that's my legacy is you can step into the spotlight right now and start dominating your industry. You could start leading the example. My whole thing is I took NLP so that way I have this little person, I have this daughter of mine, and I'm going to instill in her the thoughts, the values and beliefs for her to be confident so that she could step into the spotlight of like whatever it is that she wants to do. I never want her to feel self-conscious. I never want her to give up. I want her to be surrounded with other community members that will cheer her on. And I think that's what you get with live streaming.
I love that. I'm just a big proponent of raising that gap in gender, because I have 4 daughters, so I am big time into equality for women, because it's the same sort of deal. I want my daughters to grow up with the same advantages that my son has. And the only way that I'm going to have that is if I really push for it. And I love that you're about that, because again, I can point my daughters in a direction and say, look, you want really strong female examples, leaders, people that are doing them here. I got a whole list. Let me show you.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I want. I want to say, oh, you need a speaker for your lineup? Let me show you all these amazing people that I've met. Here are some women. Here are some people of color. Like, these are everyone that you should know. And when I think about live streaming, you don't have to wait for someone else to give you that stage. Make your own damn stage. And when you are in that spotlight, damn it, dude, just fucking pull someone else up from the audience and give them that opportunity too, because that's all we're really looking for. You know, if we want that diversity in social media, in live streaming, all that, we have to give each other opportunities. And that's just something that I'm all about.
Yeah. And that's what I've told people before. My show, and I tell this is because, yes, I did build this platform. Yes, I put in the work, but it's also my option to say, you know what? If you want to come hold the helm here, guess what? I'll do everything else. You come bring yourself on my show and you come talk. You bring a guest. You talk about what is important to you. I will take care of everything else. What other show is going to do that?
Yeah.
I mean, and what I said. So I tell people, if you come build your voice. I've had people who've actually taken the opportunity that I've thrown out there, and they loved it so much that they say, you know what? When can I come back?
Oh, that's the best. That's the best.
Right?
That's and then when you do a second show with someone, you got to do the replay. You were like, remember that first time you were on the show? And then you play the clip. That'll be awesome. And when I do come back on a second time, I would expect the clip of seeing the husband and the daughter. Because maybe by then, you know, she'll be like another inch taller.
There you go. Right. So, you know, just to everybody who's taking that opportunity, and I got a few more already in the works who are like, I would love to go try it. Cool. Come on. Let's get everything set up. I will give you all the tools you need. What I need you to do is find your guest and find your voice, and you come on and talk. And then afterwards, that's why they always go, that was so much fun. So, because again, I tell them, look, here's the thing, right? I mean, when you sit here and you think about it, yes, it kind of gets you nervous. But once you're in the moment, you're talking and you're having the conversation. If I get you past the first 10 minutes of being calm, I mean, getting past all your nervousness.
Yep.
Everything else becomes so much easier, because then I get to talk. I can pull you to that point of talking about yourself. And if you can't talk about yourself, then you probably got a problem, and you're not.
Then there's something else to figure out. Yeah. I mean, usually, sometimes people always will ask me, you know, how long should I go live for? I'm like, go live for as long as you share your story, as you deliver that value. And sometimes it does take you 10 minutes just to warm up. It is what it is, you know, to just kind of like go past that facade of trying to be perfect in the first 10 minutes, and then you let down your guard, and then the real you actually shows. That's the fun piece of it. But I'm like, but if you just want the info, then go live for at least 20 minutes, just because of the algorithm to send it out there. But I will tell you that majority of the good stuff, when you're going back to edit and get those 1 minute video clips, it's usually after the 10-minute mark.
Right. After somebody's already gotten into, you know, it's like, I equate it to like getting a car started, right?
Yep.
target a maximum performance once it's been running already, boom, and then you're going from there. Same sort of deal. I get you in here first 10 minutes. Afterwards, I get you to open and blossom up. By the time you're done, and this is the wonderful part about it, after the nobody gets to see these except for me, but after the show, most of the people go, wow, that was fast.
Yeah, time flies.
I mean, here we are. It's been an hour, and I tell people it's the fastest hour you're gonna feel before you go, I didn't think I could talk for a whole hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Well, you can when you're, but I mean, that's also a tribute to you because that means that you're a really good host, right?
Yeah.
It's because you're listening and you know how to do the flow of the show. And that takes a lot of talent in order to do that. Because live streaming isn't also just about the graphics, the overlays, and how to push a button. It's about the story that you pull out. Mm-hmm. And I've seen shows where they're just like, here's my bullet point. I just got to go down the list. And when they ask their guest a question, you could see them not paying attention. And, you know, and you're like, oh man, you just missed an opportunity to really, really make a connection with that person. Because they're going to remember how you made them feel on the show. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just that listening for that. That's the one skill that I say you got to practice on. And it's been just because of repetition is becoming an active listener. Mm-hmm. I mean, if I hear something that piques my interest, screw questions and screw direction where I'm going to, I'm jumping into that right now. So if somebody says, well, you know what? I was in clown college before I went into doing it. I go, wait a minute, clown college? How did you get into clown college and what is that like? I mean, what are the requirements to do that? As soon as I hear something like that, I jump down that rabbit hole and I got to go take it down that direction because it's just too interesting to not to hear that. I mean, now if it is, yes, a structured business show sometimes, okay, like you said, yeah, okay, sometimes let's go ahead and stick with if you're here for the tips and tricks and let's get that in here, let's get that going and let's get that out of the way and talk. But for me, again, I tell people, look, if you're looking for that, I can point you to some really great shows, really great hosts who can tell you and coach you on those things. You're not going to get that with me. I'm sorry. I just don't do that. That's not so. Thank you, Stephanie, so much. I enjoyed this conversation. There was so much that went on. And then, of course, we got to meet the hubs and the daughter as well. So,
oh my God, that's actually a rarity. Most people don't even know that I'm married. And it's not because I don't say that I'm married. It's because he's so introvert. He's like the complete opposite of me. Complete.
What?
Like, oh yeah, family parties. I'm like, hey, everybody, what's up? Yeah. And he's like, hello.
How are you?
Hi, everyone. How are you? So it's like the fact that he came into the show, it's like seeing Bigfoot. It's like, oh,
yes, you know, right.
It's hilarious because even this one time, Gabe, I was at a conference and I was like, wow, it's so good to see my friends here, you know, to have your lighthouses in the audience because it keeps you, you know, humble and all that stuff. And shout out to my husband. And then everyone was like, who? Like, husband? like it's like a groundhog. They're like, who?
They were like, yeah, wait a minute, you're married? You got a kid?
You got a kid? Yeah. And then he disappeared for like another 3 years. So the fact that he hopped on your show, it's another, like, see, even Kendra is in the comments. She's like, it took years before we got to meet the secret husband. It's hilarious. It's like, he's not a secret. That's what he does. He's like a ninja. He's like smoke bomb.
Right.
Here I am.
That's what it is. That's what he'd equate it to. He's not an introvert. He's a ninja.
He's a ninja.
He's so skilled. You don't even see that he's there sometimes.
No, you don't.
That's wonderful. I love that.
Can you fix my light for me? Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Hey, go. You know, and I've had people say, "Hey, when are you going to bring your wife on?" It's like the same sort of deal. I tell them, it's like pulling teeth. I would love to sit here and have a conversation and bring her on and talk about things, but it's like she's like you. She's like your husband. I don't. No camera, no nothing. I don't want none of that. She doesn't even watch my own show sometimes, right? Because she goes,
oh, and doesn't that hurt? Because I feel like my husband used to watch like my show at the very beginning, and I think it was like, you know, for moral support. And then now these days he's like, oh, you gotta show. Okay. You know, but I'm like,
They're like, come on, man.
yeah, you know, like, it would be nice to see you show up.
Yeah, just drop a. You don't even gotta say that. Just drop a wave
Still
or
a secret heart bomb.
yeah, something, and go. Okay, cool. That's awesome. So I've had like I think here it is. I've done 110 episodes. I think I've had her comment one time. So out of 109 episodes, she's commented one time on them. So that was kind of fun, and that was that was kind of like your husband showing up. That threw me off guard for a second, and going, "Hold on, that's what she's commenting on my show."
Yeah.
Wow.
I was like, what? Yeah, I used to get mad at him because he would watch the show, and if my audio was off, I'm like, babe, you're upstairs. You couldn't just like come downstairs and tell me that my mic was all being all weird. Like, he's like, oh, I just had it playing. I was like, oh. Come on,
help me out just a little bit. But this was a fun conversation. So thank you so much, Stephanie, for coming on the show. Guys, again, if you want to go check out her website, let me pull up the links here.
I mean, it's all there. Woof. I've never had like this whole like take over your screen.
So, well, of course, that's always that's cool. But here's the thing: I'm gonna pull it up anyway because I want people to go again check out the opportunity to win. Right, win a right free, free, guys. So just like her boot camp was free, this is a free opportunity, right? And then all you got to do is put in the word Bella, get 10 extra entries into it. I mean, again, $588 value. That's not chump change, guys. Yeah. And if you want to get into the streaming, what a better way? I mean,
can I explain why the code word is Bella?
Sure, tell us.
Okay, because, and I'll make this quick, but one of your questions was you're going to say, what was the weirdest thing that ever happened to you on a live stream?
Oh, yes.
And so I had a guest, and her name was Bella Vasta. And so, mostly everyone knows that I use a DSLR to go live.
Yes.
Well, I only had one DSLR. And so when I need to go to a client, I would unplug it, go over to the client meeting, and then go back here. Well, when I had her on the show, all of a sudden I saw the red light blink. And that meant the battery was about to die. And so, yeah, right. You feel it too. You just got goosebumps like, oh my gosh, what's about to happen? And so then this is how you know you're working with another pro. Because I was like, oh, ha, 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 Bella, you know what's really funny is I had a client meeting and I totally forgot to plug in my battery adapter. And she got it. And so I put her on the screen, and in the background, you could hear me going, like trying to plug it back in. I'm like, I'm trying to make it work. But Bella was such a pro. She, CYA, she covered me, and it was hilarious. I still go back to the episode. I crack up because you could hear like little noises in the background, like,
right. Yeah, the camera was off, but the mic was still working.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about it because I was thinking so much about that. I was like, oh, just have her take over the screen. But yeah, you hear me and they're like, oh, beep, beep, beep. And it was hilarious. You just hear this.
And you had so much going on. You know what? That's the funny thing, right? In that moment of panic, you're like, you're not even thinking about everything, all the audio and everything else. You're worried about getting back up and live. And I know because I had this happen to me, and I'm going to share this real quick. Episode 85, I was on with Emily McGinnis and her husband, right? In the middle of the stream, I get dropped out. My modem crashed. So my stream just went, right? So in the StreamYard, here's the cool thing. They were still on live, right? I was just gone from the stream. So I'm panicking. I go running inside because I have a separate DSL line. I'm changing everything up. Let me I'm plugging in the cord. Okay, run here. I got the wrong cord. So I went back out to the studio, plugged it back in, logged in. I'm sitting here thinking, this is probably an elapsed time of about 8.5 minutes. I'm thinking, They've probably already dropped from the screen. The show's probably already over. I was like, crap. So I plug in the screen. Here they are. They're bantering back and forth, and they were holding the conversation for me for 8.5 minutes. So I'm always grateful. Yes. So
That's how you know you're dealing with pros. I mean, literally same thing. Same thing happened to me. I was on a show. All of a sudden, the host dropped out. And I was like, well, lucky for me, I'm a live streamer. And I just kept talking, right? And then finally he came back in and I was like, so what happened? You just like smoke bombed and ninja'd out. Like, what happened? And he's like, oh, I just started a keto diet and I actually just fainted. Oh, because apparently when you do keto, there's like some part where you get lightheaded. So in the middle of the show, he fainted. And like his other producer, it was
wow.
I was like, well, are you okay?
That is the.
I mean, what just happened? Smoke bomb ninja. Out. What?
Right. Oh my gosh. And that's one of the things that I've told people along the whole journey. I remember this episode number 10. I remember my guests. That's why I said I remember my guests and what episodes all these things happen. I try to very much because of course I create them. I do. Episode number 10. I was on with Tim Meadows Jr. That's his name. I'm only 10 episodes into this whole journey, so I'm still green, figuring everything out. He kept dropping from the broadcast. So here we are in the middle of the conversation. Boom, he would disappear. And at that point, I'm like a deer in headlights going, whoa, what do I do? And I would just sit here and start to try to banter a little bit and then pop back in. Okay, cool. All right, cool. Let's go with the conversation. Start talking again. Happens second time.
Yeah.
Then by the third time, he came back on. He started talking, and then he lost the audio. And I was, I battled my way through that episode, and I will always remember to go now. I tell people before ahead of time, if you're using wireless headbuds, please make sure they're charged, because just like anything else, they will die. And once you use the audio connection, guess what? I'm just looking at you. I got to become a lip reader. I'm going, I don't know what you're saying, right?
No.
So that's why I say, please, if you do it, be a pro. That's why I kind of send everybody now StreamYard kind of guest instructions.
Guest checklist.
Yes, please. Yeah. Please cover some of these things when you go on, because again, it is a live stream, and we really wanted to. It's because we want to offer the best, provide a good stream to you, a good show. So we just really want to try to do our best.
If you want to show up with non-working AirPods, I could entertain myself and try to do a bad lip reading episode. I could throw up like some gang signs and try to try to communicate with you, like what you try to say.
Right.
You know. We're gonna play charades. We could do that, but it'll probably only last for like 5 minutes. And then
at that point, I just say, you know what? Let me drop it from the stream. I'll have a fucking 45-minute conversation with myself, and I will probably have a better show. So, but again, this is what we do. This is why I say I love the live streaming community, because we have so many. That's why I would love to have an episode to talk about everybody's bad experiences with it.
I think that could go on. We have so many. So many. You feel it, like it's visceral. You're like, oh, he dropped out. Not once, not twice, but 3. Or like John, he's like, oh my God, he fainted. Yeah, he fainted. And the funny thing is, you know him. I'm not gonna out him. But John, you know him. All of you know who I'm talking about, because he's one of like the legendary live streamers. I'm not gonna out him. But it was the funniest damn thing, because I was like, man,
even when
you were talking about you were the top of this game and you fainted. That's
even when you were saying the red light, I was like, oh my God, I already knew what was about to happen. I go, Oh,
Ooh. Yeah.
you get scared. You go, oh, now you know. And
Yeah.
you feel sometimes you feel like a dud, a ditch sometimes because you go, I know I should have charged it. I know better, right? But it is what it is, guys. And this is the fun part about what we do. And this is the personable side of live streaming that I love to share with everybody. So thank you, Stephanie, for doing this. And we need to do this again. There's so many different people that are in these live streaming communities that we run in the same circles and know. And I would love to have some kind of big session like this and just talk about all the good and bad that they've had, because
the good, the ugly, and bad of live streaming. I mean, everyone can come in and you can call it the live streaming confessional. You remember like MTV when it was what was that New Jersey show? What was it called? You guys, Jersey Shore. That's it. You should have like a scene where it's like the confessional, and you're just like,
ooh.
All right. Let me tell you about the CEO who was trying to tell me that he didn't need to check his internet connection because he's the CEO, right? And then he ended up looking like a damn fool because he wanted to be right, because it was so important for him to be like. I think that would be hilarious, just to have like all of us roll in and be like, let me tell you, confessional. And you know what would be even hilarious is if we came in with like a snap camera and you could disguise our voices and our faces. And it would be like, let me tell you something about Gabe, and like you wouldn't know who it was because the faces, like I could come in with like a stormtrooper helmet, just like, let me tell you about Kendra.
Right. I mean, there's so much you could do with that. That is so, now my mind's racing going, okay, this
it's doable. See, that's the thing. I would have to use a green screen because I feel like the background would be like the dead giveaway. You'd be like, oh, that's Stephanie. That's Stephanie.
I think I've seen like, well, again, shout out Brian Shulman. He does his What's Good Wednesdays, and he does lives, and he pulls in these filters.
Snapcam,
Snapcam filters, right? And you can put them in and you go, hi. Now I don't know about the voice, but at least you can hide your face and go, who's that fucking who's that pie who's talking to me, telling me about what this has gone wrong with this certain person? And it'd be the fun part to try to figure that out. But damn, there's so much you could possibly do.
Oh, there's so much that you could do. Like, you know what I would probably do is, if anything, I would green screen and use another live streamer's background and like just instigate. Like I would take Rob's background and I would even throw like the Filipino accent and be like, hello, kaibigan. This is Rob Alastadas. Like, no, he'd totally get mad at me.
I would take John's background and go, and just talk in front of it and go.
But yeah, you could do your snap camera. You could do this as your confessional and just be like, let me tell you about this host that fainted and expected me to keep it rolling. Yeah, that's good.
This is awesome. This is, again, so many great things, guys. Great things. I'm actually ready to produce this show already.
This show needs to happen. The live streaming confessionals. I swear, I will bring out the green screen and I will.
Yes, I'm gonna bring mine out.
I even cosplay as like a stormtrooper, so I've got like one of those where it changes your voice. Yeah,
guys. So if you're not connected with Stephanie, she is a hoot. I've had so much fun talking about this. Again, you see how her mind races. This is what
that's what happens, especially when it's live streaming, because there's so much creativity that you can do. But I swear, if you put this live streaming confessional thing together, I will line it up. Heck, I would even wear different shirts, different costumes. I would just parade in because I'd have a green screen. I would show up in like Brian's background, Brian Shulman, right? I would show up as Rob. All of them.
There's so many of them. Right?
Yeah.
Rich Cardona. There's so many guys I could steal and take from them and go, okay, this is cool. So yes, I need to put this together. Project number 1, guys. Live streaming confessionals. So
the live streaming shores.
Right. So if you're a live streamer, you might be getting a message from me. This is gonna happen. Especially Rob. I'm gonna get Rob. he's been through so many of these. He's got to have tons of stuff that he can talk about confessional wise. And guys, this would be something that you would be interested in watching. Please.
I would love to watch. I would hop in because what's funny is that Brian Shulman does like the what's good. It's all positive vibes. I don't know about you, but sometimes I'm motivated by just talking smack.
Oh yeah.
I think that would just entertain me. I'd be like, oh, I know who that is. I know who you're talking about. Or I'd be like, it would be like a Maury Povich of like, who's the father? It's like, who's the instigator? Like, who had the worst headline? Or
right. So, live streamers, watch out because this is coming now. I'm done. This is going to happen now, right?
End.
And again, here's the wonderful part. In August, I'm going to have free time. Yeah. When I get free time,
it's in trouble. Oh my gosh.
It's trouble. Because again, I do what I do now with 5 nights a week, guys. Can you imagine? I'm only doing 2 nights a week, and then having the time to plan these things. This is going to happen, Stephanie. So
this is totally going to happen. So, and what would be funny is that I would then chip in. I would be on the back end of that, and I'd be like, okay, now I'm going to make a GIF of all of these. all of this. You're gonna search. I'm just gonna mess with Rob Balasalvas, but you're gonna type in Rob Balasalvas in the GIF search, and you're gonna see all these wonderful.
So, Rob, guess what?
So Rob, he's like, that wasn't me. I'm like, was it? Are you sure?
I gotta reach out to like Loria.
Loria is the best, man. Legend.
I love her. She's yeah. So I need exactly right. You need a duck phone to call. I can actually do my. I got a Rode Procaster, so I can actually plug in the audio from taking phone calls. So a whole nother fun part of it, guys. So
there you go.
Right. And I bought this thing because I was going to do podcasting, and I haven't. You know what? I really haven't used it. I feel like
I'm surprised that you got it. Everyone was trying to sell me on the Rodecaster Pro. They're like, Stephanie, it's like the new thing and does everything. And I was like, but does it wash the dishes? Does it do the laundry? Because I got all this other stuff to do. And if it don't do that, then I'm not interested. Okay.
Right.
Because I got dishes, laundry.
Right. Can it pay bills? Can
it wash my car? Can it vacuum? Because
if it is, I need to order one
then I'll get a Rodecaster Pro, whatever it is, Ultra Max Voltron, all of the above. Check. Here's my card. Take it. Okay.
Right. Take everything. Take it off. What do you want? Do I got to sign over the firstborn? I got to think about that one, but maybe. Okay. So again, no, you're safe. Stay tight, guys. So Stephanie, awesome show, everybody. Thank you so much who's followed along. All you guys, again, you are the reason why I do what I do and put in so much time and effort, because you guys are the community. You guys are my family, and this is the best part of live streaming. So thank you, Stephanie. Sit tight. Everybody else, we will be back Monday evening, 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, with 2 wonderful people who I've been waiting to have a conversation with, Wendy Weinarungi and Amy Blaschka. So they will be my guests for Monday evening. Everybody, you have a good evening. I will talk to you again Monday. Good night, everybody.
Good night.